Hello, I'm Corey, and welcome to the Core Dog Experience, where I talk Ohio State Buckeyes. If you feeling this segment afterwards, please hit the like button. If you like Buckeye talk in general, please subscribe. So we got the spring game. It's still about a month or so away. Gives me an opportunity again to talk about some other stuff that's going on in the Buckeye world. March Madness is right around the corner as well. But on this particular segment, I'm going to revisit something that sort of creeped its way back into the headlines recently. The Ohio legislature, or some members of the Ohio legislature, has recently petitioned to get our vacated wins from the 2010 season back. Probably not going to happen, but they put the petition into the NCAA to get our 2010 wins back from that season. As we all know, it's all related to the biggest scandal of the century, TattooGate. TattooGate, however you want to call it, TattooGate happened. It was the most scandalous thing going on in the world of college football at that time. You would think it was, but no, it happened. But TattooGate is back up in the news. Our legislature is trying to get those wins back, which is good. Good. I'm not mad at them for trying. Does it mean anything big this day and age? Probably not. But I'm a records person. I like records. So if that getting those 10 wins reinstated helps Ohio State move up that all-time wins list, yeah, let's try and get those wins back. So all for it. They're not going to get them back if you don't ask. So, and I do believe this may be the second or maybe the third time they've petitioned for it. So probably not going to happen again, because I think it has been denied in the past. To probably get denied again. But good luck. Hope they do get it back. But let's go in and just take a real quick recap of what the 2010 season, what TattooGate was all about. So before I even get into it, I thought it was silly then. The whole tattoo thing was silly then, and seeing what transpired or what's gone on since then in the world of college football, in and around other places, it's just even more ridiculous now when you look back on it and all the fuss and fanfare that went over basically some tattoos and improper benefits from these young men selling their own personal items. They all started with TattooGate, improper benefits from selling their own stuff. They sold their own stuff basically to get whatever they got for it. Thought it was silly then, think it's silly now, but that was the real genesis of the whole tattoo scandal. These guys sold their own merchandise, their own stuff, their own personal items, and benefited off selling their own stuff. What's improper, who knows? Maybe they got too much for it, but who's to say what's too much when you're selling your stuff? If I'm selling something, I'm going to get as much for it as I can. That's how the capitalist society is, I believe. You get what you can. Who's to say what it's worth, what it's not worth, if it's worth too much, if they pay too much? It's worth whatever someone's willing to pay for it. So if they got what they got for it back then, more power to them. That's what someone believed it was worth. How are you going to say that's improper? But that's the whole genesis of the scandal for those who may be unaware of what TattooGate was all about. But that's basically what it was in a nutshell. These guys got some benefits for basically selling their own personal items. The individuals involved, the Tat 5 or TattooGate 5, however you want to refer to him as, was Terrell Pryor, which was the biggest name on that list. We had Daniel Boom Heron, Devere Posey, Mike Adams, and Solomon Thomas. Those were the 5 individuals related to the whole TattooGate. So those were the individuals. So as you all know, punishments were handed down following the 2010 season that these guys played in. The whole 2010 season they participated in all the games. And I stress all the games because looking back into it, and when they vacated the wins, we had to keep the one loss from that season. They didn't vacate the loss, but we had to vacate all the wins, which, or we had to vacate 10 because basically when it was all said and done, the TattooGate 5 were viewed to be ineligible. But, those same players played in that loss, so why we have to keep the loss, I don't know. I'm just saying, if you're going to vacate the 2010 season, vacate everything. But it is what it is. We had to vacate the wins. And the Ohio legislature is trying to get those wins back. Like I said, I don't believe it's going to happen. But if we could negotiate, not knowing we're going to get all the wins back, but if we could negotiate to get one of those wins back from the season, I would advocate getting that bowl win over Arkansas back, because then we would have effectively erased that SEC jinx Ohio State was experiencing. That was a good Arkansas team we beat in, I believe it was the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Whatever the bowl game was, we beat Arkansas. We erased the jinx. We wouldn't have to hear all this talk about SEC, because we beat Arkansas, but now it's off the books. We can't make that claim. So if we can get one win back, give me that Arkansas win back, and you can keep the rest of the 2010 wins that we had to vacate. But anyway, so what were the punishments that were handed down as a result of TattooGate? Well, first and foremost, we had to vacate the wins, like I just mentioned. We had to vacate the wins. Had to keep the loss, but we vacated the wins. So moving into the 2011 season, Jim Tressel, I believe he served a 2-game suspension. Ultimately, it was increased to 5 games, and ultimately, he later resigned shortly after the spring. The TattooGate 5, Tattoo 5 were ultimately suspended the first 5 games of the 2011 season. And ultimately, Terrell Pryor never returned to the program. The program in of itself was placed on 3 years probation. We had a 1-year bowl ban. So those were the big punishments that were handed down as a result of TattooGate, as a result of these young men selling their own personal items for what they could get for it. But that's what it was. So what I'm going to do here today is talk about something. First of all, I'm a Marvel fan, so I'm a Marvel person, and if you're a Marvel person, recently on Disney they had this series called What If. So I'm gonna play a little bit of What If today here on this segment as regards to the TattooGate scandal. What if TattooGate never happened? Where would we be today? What if we do what if in the sports world all the time? Literally, as soon as the final whistle blows, we're on what if. What if the referee would have made that call? What if the guy would have caught that pass? What if he would have we do it all the time. And those are what if games that affect that particular, what if scenarios that affect that particular game. But this what if scenario, regards to TattooGate, that affected the program for several years and even up to this day. So, and I like playing the what if game, because what's good about the what if, you can take it any direction you want to go. So that's it. I'm gonna give you my what if scenario if TattooGate never happened, and how it affected the Ohio State program. And then when I was thinking about, the what if scenario, just in the college world in general, what are some other big what if scenarios that took place? What if different scenarios had taken place? It was just interesting to think back, and one big one that came to mind was what if SMU never got the death penalty? Because that program has never been the same ever since they got the death penalty. You had Eric Dickerson, Craig James, the Pony Express. That was a good team. If SMU never gets the death penalty, are they the program getting ready to boat off to the SEC? Stuff like that. In terms of Ohio State, outside of TattooGate, what's the big what if scenario? To me, I don't think there's nothing bigger than what if Woody Hayes never punches the Clemson player. That might even be bigger than TattooGate. What if Woody Hayes never punches the Clemson player? Where's Ohio State in those following years after that? Are we even here today? So to me, that might even be a bigger what if scenario than TattooGate in and of itself. But today I'm just focusing on the what if TattooGate never happened. So I ran down a list of some of the punishments and consequences that were handed down. So I'm just going to start, my what if scenario is going to start specifically on that 2010 season. TattooGate never happens. Does the 2010 season get affected? Obviously not, because they got to play out through the season. I believe we started the season preseason number 2. We ended up in the final AP poll number 5. Again, we beat Arkansas in that bowl game. So if TattooGate happens, as it doesn't happen, I don't think the 2010 season gets affected at all. We weren't going to win in Madison with or without TattooGate. Those ineligible players, they played in that Madison game and we still lost. So 2010 season, in my scenario, goes relatively unaffected. I do think the 2011 season was greatly impacted by TattooGate. First of all, we had the 5 players that were suspended heading into for the first 5 games of that season. And by the time the season started, Tressel had resigned. And we'll touch on Tressel a little bit later. But just that 2011 season alone, just focus there a little bit. Ohio State had a lot of people coming back following that 2010 season. We were a solid offensive line, a good running game with Herron, Sane, and some of the other folks we came in. Solid receivers, a veteran defense. We were loaded. I won't say we were loaded, but we had a veteran defense, a veteran secondary, we had a good team. I believe some folks did a look at the time. We probably would have been favored, if not to win the whole thing, definitely to be a participant in the BCS title game. I do believe we had a really good chance of winning it. And in my scenario, we win it because I'm biased. So I think 2011 we win the national title. I'm biased. I think we win in 2011. Terrell Pryor would have been back. And no, he cannot throw the ball. We're going to make comments, well, Terrell Pryor can't throw the ball. No, he couldn't throw the ball. But he was the best athlete on the field. I saw that Rose Bowl game out here when they played Oregon in the Rose Bowl, and he was a man amongst boys. He couldn't throw the ball, do just enough when he had to, but he was the best athlete on the field. And if you got the best athlete on the field, given the other talent Ohio State had and what we had coming back on defense, we would have been favored in literally every game. And I do believe, had he been given the opportunity, Terrell Pryor may have walked out of here for championship in 2011. So that's how I think 2011 would have played out. In my scenario, we win the 2011 championship. Tressel's second title. The other years, 12 leading up to the other probationary years, I still think we're a BCS title contention. We're right there because Tressel, maybe not on the level of Urban Meyer, but Tressel was bringing in some people. He's bringing in some folks. Chris Gamble, Beanie Wells, Pryor. He was bringing in Ryan Shazier. He was bringing in some folks as well. Of course, we know Meyer took it to another level, but Tressel, he was bringing in some folks. And we talk about Tressel ball, but on offense, he was bringing in some of those dynamic quarterbacks like Pryor and Braxton Miller. I believe was a Tressel recruit. So he was getting those dynamic players on offense as well, and I think he realized the need to open it up. So 2011, I think we win it. The other probationary years, I think we're right in the mix, and we may have won it again in 2014, the year we actually did win it. But I think we're in the mix all those years if TattooGate does not happen. So brings me down to our coaching. I said Tressel. We know what happened with Tressel. In May of 2011, he resigned. He ultimately resigned, pretty much has never coached again, I don't believe. TattooGate does not happen. Tressel is still the coach. How long he coaches after that, he would have been there for some time at that point, going over 10 plus years. I don't know, heading into the 22 season, if Tressel would still be the coach. In my scenario, heading into the 22 season, I firmly believe if TattooGate had not happened, Luke Fickell would now be the Ohio State coach. I see somewhere in between, you have a seamless transition between Jim Tressel to Luke Fickell, who was our defensive coordinator under Tressel. So I believe heading into the 22 season, Luke Fickell would now be the Ohio State coach as we get ready for this upcoming season. I do believe Tressel would be, if he's not the coach, I do see him being the new Gene Smith. I see him replacing Gene Smith as Ohio State's athletic director, or whatever role Gene Smith is playing. I believe he's the athletic director. I believe he's our new person here at Ohio State. And in terms of that, I believe Gene Smith has moved on, maybe not to the bigger and better things, unless you're talking the NCAA thing, somewhere in the NCAA hierarchy itself. But I can easily see Gene Smith being, if not somewhere in the NCAA, I can see him being the new Big Ten commissioner. I believe he'd be an upgrade over Kevin Warren. I'm not happy with Kevin Warren. Anyone here happy with Kevin Warren? I'm not. Put Gene Smith in that spot. I think he'd do a much better job than what Kevin Warren has done. So, again, that's how I see the Jim Tressel thing playing out as a result of this. He coaches for several more years. At some point, he steps down, and we have a seamless transition into Luke Fickell, and Luke Fickell's well on his way into his Ohio State coaching career. So, TattooGate never happens. Obviously, we're not getting Urban Meyer because in my scenario, Tressel never resigns. So if you don't get Urban Meyer, who was already commentating, he had already left Florida at this point, and we know he still had a desire to coach. And even though he said Ohio State was his dream school, but if the position is not available, Ohio State's not dumping Tressel they're not dumping Tressel just because Urban Meyer became available, because Tressel was doing good. He was dominating Michigan. He was dominating the Big Ten. He already has a national title under his belt. He was bringing back a loaded team. Tressel's not going anywhere in Corey's what-if scenario. But Urban Meyer, where is he coaching? If he's not at Ohio State, he's not staying in the booth commentating. I believe Urban Meyer is now at USC. I don't think he ever gives the NFL a sniff. He's at USC, and I think he has USC back to the level where Pete Carroll had it, and he's challenging, and USC is challenging Oregon for dominance of the Pac-12. So in my scenario, that's how I see Urban Meyer in all of this. He never comes to Ohio State. He's on the West Coast at USC, potentially Notre Dame, but I give the nod to SC because their coaching stuff was more of a mess back then. Where's Ryan Day? I don't know. I didn't know about Ryan Day till Urban Meyer brought him on. So in my scenario, I have no idea where Ryan Day is. He's a Division I coach somewhere, maybe even in the Big Ten. Exactly where, I don't know. But Ryan Day, obviously, he's not here at Ohio State. I don't believe Luke Fickell would be bringing on Ryan Day. In my scenario, he's not, because I don't believe Ryan Day would be here. However, I do believe Brian Hartline would have found his way onto our Luke Fickell coach staff, and he would be doing what he's doing now with these top-rated receivers and what the classes we're getting there. So I do see some overlap there between some of the coaching staffs or whatnot. As far as our dominance in the Big Ten, I just see our continued dominance. We had that little dip during those probationary years, but we really never, once Meyer got things up and going again, the level of dominance has just been where it's at. We've been up here. If TattooGate had never happened, we still would have been up here. That was never going to change. We may not be experiencing the recruiting windfall that we've been seeing under Urban Meyer and Ryan Day, but I still think our recruiting would still be top 5 class year in and year out. I still see Ohio State's dominance outside of those probationary years. We would have dominated through those probationary years. I think we would have had a couple more titles or 2 if TattooGate had never happened. So that is pretty much my what if scenario if TattooGate really never happened. I think we'd have a couple more national titles, honestly, under our belt. I know we got the one in 2014. I think we would have had a couple more if TattooGate had not happened. That's my scenario. Again, it's something interesting to always go back and look at. The what ifs. And in my what if scenario, we got a couple titles under our belt. Tressel, of course, never steps down. We're still experiencing our dominance in the Big Ten. We're still a major player on the national stage, obviously. Luke Fickell is our coach. And, I see Ohio State. At the end result, I think we got to the same place heading into 22, but obviously a different path. But all in all, heading into the 22 season, I still see us about where we're at. Same result, just a different path on how we may have gotten here if TattooGate had never happened. So, be real interested to hear everyone else's what if scenarios if TattooGate had never happened. Do you agree with some of my scenarios? Is Tressel still the coach? You see Luke Fickell being a coach, or maybe we end up with Urban Meyer anyway. Tressel stepped down, and Urban Meyer, wherever he's at, he decides to come to Ohio State because Ohio State is his dream school. So if the opportunity had opened up somewhere down the road, would have Urban Meyer still have found his way to Ohio State? And like I said, what if scenarios, they can go anyway. That's what's so fun about them. But I see Luke Fickell as being our coach. I still see us being dominant in the Big Ten and being a major player in the new college football playoff era. I believe Tressel is our new athletic director, and I believe Gene Smith could possibly be sitting where Kevin Warren is now, which would be an upgrade. My what if scenario. If you like this segment, please hit the like button. Feel free to add your comments or whatnot on what you feel Ohio State's what your particular what if scenario is. No right or wrongs. That's what's fun about what if scenarios. There's no right or wrongs. It's how you see stuff playing out. So please feel free to comment on your particular what if scenarios, or if there's another what if scenarios, weigh in on the Woody Hayes what if scenario. If you'd like to see a segment on that, that would be something. Again, that's just another one that could take a bunch of different things. Any what if scenario that you would like to hear played out or sounded off, please feel free to add it in the comments. Again, just like this segment, like my thoughts or takes on it, please hit the like button. If you like Buckeye Talk in general, please subscribe. And again, thank you for taking the time out to view in on the Core Dog Experience. And until next time, OHIO, go Bucks. Thank you.